So you want great health, optimum vitality. With health being a global priority and inflation skyrocketing, time and money matter more than ever. So start working smarter, not harder. Introducing OxyFlush by My Healthcare Group. Natural health solutions that provide real results. You see, great health begins in the gut. In fact, the father of modern medicine, Hippocrates, said all disease begins in the gut. Over 70% of your immune system is also in the gut, so it's critically important to keep this area in optimal condition. OxyFlush helps quickly remove accumulated waste and associated toxins from clogging up the colon and preventing proper absorption of nutrients beneficial to your health. The impact is felt body-wide as immune cells are freed up to attend to other areas in need of attention. So, working smarter couldn't be easier. Clean your colon, lose weight and show off the healthier you. Powered by My Healthcare Group, makers of OxyFlush.
Welcome to a space dedicated to your health and well-being. For the first time ever, we bring you an exclusive, one-off special event. Join the Glorious Life Talk Show for a live Q&A session on all things women's health. Featuring two of London's leading, renowned health experts ready to answer all your questions and take your health to unprecedented levels. Meet Dr. Zoe Lloyd-Wright, a King's College London and Oxford University-trained PhD, NHS doctor, clinical nutritionist, and integrated functional medicine consultant, specialising in minerals, noble metals, and their effects on menstruation, menopause, fibroids, arthritis, and all things women's health. And joining her, multi-award-winning clinical nutritionist, detox for weight loss specialist, natural health researcher, Forbes coach, and CEO and founder of Vivo Nutrients, Go Detox, and MI Healthcare Group. Erin Warden, also known as the Juice Doctor, ready to provide specialist insights on weight loss, pain, digestive issues, sleep disorders, and optimizing your health using food. All hosted by your Glorious Life Talk Show host, Princess Glory, detox specialist, women's natural health coach, menopause expert, author and lover of all things natural health. The stage is set, the experts are ready and raring to go. All you need to do is show up and bring your questions. This one-of-a-kind live stream takes place this coming Monday, the 1st of July at 7 p.m. on Zoom. Join via the link attached to this video, invite a friend, bring your questions, a notepad, and get ready to be totally blown away with new perspectives on health and well-being like never before. Don't miss this unique opportunity to transform your health journey. We can't wait to see you there. Your health, your questions, your show, the Glorious Life Talk Show.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you very much, Dr. Zoe, and also thank you very much, Erin, for joining us this evening. We're so delighted that you are with us this evening. Just a quick one. Please, if you have any questions, start popping them on the chat so that we can give Dr. Zoe lots and lots of questions to answer. So I really don't want to waste time. It's already 5 minutes past, so I'm just going to bring Dr. Zoe onto the podium so that she can introduce herself.
Hello.
So much, Dr. Zoe, for joining us this evening. We're so delighted to see you this evening. Thank you so much.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Absolute pleasure. You know how much I respect your work and Erin's. It's a pleasure to be here. And we're all here for the same reason, to really, really help people and support them through their health journey.
Thank you very much. So if you would like to introduce yourself, so tell us all your degrees, all your qualifications, why you are here, why we are asking you all the questions. Please share
I'll
with
make
us.
it clear. I'm a medical researcher. I have been for years, a doctor of medical research, clinical nutritionist, and naturopath. And have my own practice, and I work with many oncologists and medical doctors, and I'm also linked with Germany. And I work now very, very intensely to really help people understand their health and how to move through the health and try and dispel some of the lies as well. And the Dr. Google, as I call it, the AI Dr. Google mythology. So it's an absolute pleasure to be here. Everything I do is steeped in medicine and science because it's the background. And I was part of the European Prospective Investigation into Cancer. And we all worked very hard together, and it was across many countries at bringing in health for the nations. So it's a pleasure to be here. And I am also a consultant for Noble Naturals because we're a small ethical company. We cherry pick products. And the reason I work as a consultant for Noble Naturals is because I understand the gut, and I understand how helping the gut and bypassing the gut and obtaining nutrients in the cells and in the mitochondria, which we will discuss through the talk, has a major impact in your health. And I will explain why.
Thank you so much for introducing yourself. I will start my questions, and then I'll bring the Juice Doctor to come and answer more questions as well. So please, for those of you that are on the stage, if you please start typing your questions so that we can answer them as we go along. But the first question I want to start off with is menopause, because I know that lots of the people that have logged on now, they are all on menopause, or they are just coming out of menopause, and lots of changes are happening in their body. So the first question I would like to ask is, what are the natural ways that we can elevate menopause issues like hot flushes, the night sweats, not being able to sleep, anxiety? That's another thing that's affecting women at the moment. Anxiety is a very, very big one for people that are going through menopause or starting menopause.
I've prepared some slides that I'd love to show. Is it possible, Princess Glory? Is it possible to share the screen?
If you send it by email, I will put it up before you start, but you can start answering the questions.
It's the most important part of menopause it's multifactorial, but it's preparation. And there's a lot of preparation involved. But if we're just talking about supplements for menopause, it's a huge topic. But what I do is I work very deeply with my patients in clearing the slate with them. I work by cleansing their liver. I work by asking them to make many changes in their lifestyle changes. But we can't share a screen. No, it's impossible to send them. The file's too big. I'd have to retransfer it. So let's just get on. That's okay. That's okay. We will do it this way, and it's absolutely fine. It depends what facet of menopause you're actually in, whether you are perimenopausal, whether you are postmenopausal. And I just want to say that perimenopausal is usually 3 to 5 years before menopause, when your estrogen and hormone levels begin to drop, and that's called perimenopausal. And you typically enter into perimenopausal in your late 40s. Some women enter earlier, some women enter a lot later. But how you know is you usually have some flushes, normally hot, sleep disturbances, insomnia, night sweats, elevated heart rate, mood changes, vaginal discomfort during sexual intercourse, and usually urinary issues. Your energy levels tend to flag, go up and down. So I usually prepare that immediately by focusing on the hormone levels of the woman. And normally, a lot of nutrients and minerals are vital for that. The first one being magnesium. And I use nanomagnesium because nanomagnesium is elemental. You do not have to liberate it from any other compound. Other magnesiums like glyphosates, taurates are bound to salts, but nanomagnesium is not. It is completely elemental, and it goes through the blood-brain barrier immediately to the cerebral spinal fluid and goes into all the cells of the body straight away. So that's, you begin by magnesium levels. Also, I look at iron levels. Very important to look at iron levels. Just because a woman, her menstrual cycle is slowing down, iron has many, many other effects in the body that are very important. And so I use it. I use that a lot in my work. So let's begin by saying how important it is. The first aspect of health in a woman is hydration. As we know, a lot of hunger and thirst serve some parallel purposes, and 90% of hunger is actually thirst. But hydration isn't just simply about drinking enough water. It's also about getting enough water into the cells, pure, good water. I use true water. It's structured water. And your body's ability will diminish to obtain water from your bloodstream and enter into the extracellular environment, into your cells as you age. So starting on, but water is more than just that. It's the most underrated, neglected, and recognized antioxidant in the human body. So I begin with that. Then I begin with really looking at minerals, because minerals are all the coenzyme and all enzymatic reactions in the body are dependent on minerals, their frequencies of light. And minerals are interactive and interdependent, and they have an interrelationship. And all minerals are the essence of nutritional therapeutics and form the basis of correctional nutritional deficiencies.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Zoe. I've got 2 questions already on the chat, so we'd like to take those questions, because I know you were ready for them to ask you lots of questions.
Yes, of course.
So we'll go with the first question. The first question is from Claire. Can we give some advice on how to lose the bloated belly during perimenopause? Also, what are the alternatives to HRT? That was the question I was just about to ask. But yes, thank you very much. Dr. Zoe, go ahead with the question.
Yes, absolutely. You can really begin to make many changes. Firstly, in your diet, extreme changes in your diet by cutting out on sugar. And I don't know why that's appeared, but I think when I lift my hand, it appears. The most important aspect, bioidentical hormones, there's a difference between bioidentical hormones and HRT. Bioidentical is a substance used to create them. So bioidentical hormones are derived from plant sources. You can begin to use them, but you need to go to a specialist. I do lots of tests and etc. And I work with a medical doctor who just does bioidentical hormones. But the bloating in your stomach is because you really need to start looking at the liver and start bringing in zinc and copper, looking at bacteria in your gut, because we've got the microbiome. The gut and the brain talk to each other, everybody. It's the blood-brain axis. It's very important. So you need to start looking at your gut, looking at what you put in, cleansing your gut, detoxifying, especially working on the liver. And we can talk about that more and more, Princess Glory, as we move on, how to detoxify the liver.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zoe, for answering that question and telling us that there are 2 different types. There's HRT and there's the other one. But
bioidentical hormones.
Bioidentical hormones. The other question I wanted to ask was, you said something about water, drinking water. How much water should they drink? Because I have recommended in the past that people drink a gallon of water, which is about 5 liters. And they say, you know what, I don't want to go toilet to wee. So we say to them, drink lots of water, but also when you take product juices, all those count as water as well. So we need to know the number. Do we need 3 liters, 4 liters, 2 liters? Please, can you just tell us what you think about
the medical profession? We were, when we were trained, and we were told 8 glasses a day. I don't believe that. I would definitely. have 12 of these a day, but that includes your juices. And people say I can't. So I ask them to make their juices concentrated and keep adding water to it. This is true water here. This is true water. This is structured water, true water. I have a facility that makes that. But it's very important to drink water. If you can't drink a lot of water, I say to people, put a straw in there, a glass straw or a good Perspex straw, and sip it through the day. But water is very important. But water is not what you drink in coffee or tea. Water is what you have in juices, preferably organic, or I use the phytoplankton, I use the super greens, I use all the algae, I use the seaweeds. Phenomenal. Yes, by the way, for menopausal women, seaweeds and everything can be obtained from Princess Glory. This is full of iodine, 75 minerals. It is phenomenal. That also will help with the bloating, because once your body starts working correctly in your thyroid, can we explain why there's bloating? Because the liver isn't coping. The liver isn't coping with the estrogen, and it's dumping it in the fat cells, and you bloat further and further because it has to do something with it. So you need to cleanse that liver intensely. I use, apart from juices, I use nano silver, I use zinc and copper, but the big thing that I use is fermented chlorella, which is a chelator. Let me explain to everybody what a chelator is. A chelator is a nutrient that oxygenates the body. It's full of chlorophyll, but it goes through the liver and it attaches itself to toxins and it helps the liver push them through. And it's an aid for the liver. So I use a lot of chelated chlorella for bloating, and it makes a huge difference. Plus, you feel great because it's full of chlorophyll. Full of chlorophyll. By the way, everybody, the molecule that binds chlorophyll is magnesium. They go together. There's a marriage, a synergy. Everything green in nature and everything that energizes your body has the middle compound magnesium. So that's how important it is.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zoe, for that first question. You've given us so much answers already.
I could go on, but I want to be able to get through everything. I know what it's like. I know.
They are actually enjoying your talk, and they have put in their questions in. So we're going to put the second question in from the chat. You can see the name of the person on the screen. Thank you very much, Shirley.
Glory, may I just say something about how the real important aspect of health begins in the mouth. And our gut starts from here and goes down to the anal cavity. But what goes on in the mouth? Remember, they've copied Dolly the sheep, but they can't saliva. So I ask everybody to look at their teeth, make sure they have good dental health, good dental hygiene. That's very, very important and pivotal for good health.
Thank you so much. I'm going to read out the question now. It says, I am postmenopausal and my hot flushes have reduced since I changed my diet. What would you recommend to your clients?
The first thing I do is I stop sugar, and I have to say I stop all wheat. I don't allow it. I stop it. I see a great big difference. I also bring in intermittent fasting. I've just come from the sickle cell anemia conference, and I was presenting there, and I had a lovely lady who came up to me who said to me exactly that question. So bless her. It's kismet, as I say. And I asked her to stop all grains. There is nothing in the soil, everybody. We need to nourish our body. The greatest source of inflammation begins at the end of our forks. Detoxing begins that if you stop bringing toxic foods into our home. But I begin by changing the diet. The first thing I do is I remove sugar. I remove grains. I remove all, apart from a bit of quinoa or sprouted grains. And I ask everybody to start again. And intermittent fasting. And they see a major difference. Also, everybody exercise and sleep. Let me explain why sleep is so important. Sleep is very, very important because the brain shrinks by 20% in the night. And that shrinking is so vital because of the glial cells. And if you do not give your body a chance to wash and the brain to shrink, so the glymphatic system is a glial dependent waste clearance pathway in the brain. And when you sleep, it's so important to get the right sleep. I ask people to get to bed by 10 or 10:30. Do it, everybody. Remove all electromagnetic frequencies from your room. The brain shrinks by 20% and all the toxins are squeezed out of the brain. And I say to people, how can you start a new day if you're still carrying the stress of the day before? How are you ever going to get well, everyone? And please remove all phones and everything electromagnetic from the bedroom. Turn off your Wi-Fi. Doesn't matter if you live in a block and everybody's doing Wi-Fi. Turn it off for you that's immediately emitting towards you, because EMF, electromagnetic fields, have various chemical effects, including causing deterioration in large molecules in the cells, and it imbalances the ionic equilibrium. I cannot urge enough. That's what all medical studies have shown.
Thank you so much for answering that question again. The points that I got from that question, I'm going to read it out. You said we should stop sugar. You said we should do intermittent fasting. We should stop all grains. I'm going to ask you a question about grain. And then you said to us to go to bed between 10 and 10:30.
And sleep, everyone. Sleep. Don't have your phone in the room with the light.
You also said to us to stop our Wi-Fi. But one question I want to ask about grains. Which grains do you really want us to take out? You know, when people come to me, I say to them, stop eating rice. They're like, oh, what do you want me to eat then? I'm like, but rice is not the only food. You know, recommend things like quinoa, you know, millet and all the other stuff. But they're like, no, rice and all that stuff. So I want you to tell us what grains we should take out, because people hear the word grain, but they're not sure. I also tell my clients, stop eating bread. And they're like, oh, I eat brown bread. And I say to them, brown bread and white bread, they're exactly the same. And they put the same amount of sugar in your system. So please let us know so that they're specific, the kind of grains they need to cut out of their diet. Thank you so much.
I just want to say that a lot of my medical research is being used by Cancer UK, so I can really talk about this. And it's, you know, downloaded a lot. Please let me explain. The grains that have been destroyed, wheat has been, the expression is, it has been glutenized by over 60%. The reason for that is to make it cheap. It wasn't supposed to be like that. Spelt is an older grain, but I ask people to have quinoa, teff, all those old grains. But I also ask people to sprout the grains, to sprout them. If people are addicted to grains, it's usually the root of what you're addicted to, everybody, is usually what's causing you the greatest problem. When I was addicted to grain, I couldn't bear not to have bread and, you know, even organic spelt barley that I'd bake myself. But actually, when I take it out, I feel a lot better. But I would definitely bring in quinoa. I would definitely bring in a little bit of barley, but don't have too much and cook it very well. Quinoa is beautiful grain, so good for you. If you are going to have rice, I urge everyone, medical studies have shown that basmati rice, organic, doesn't have as much of an effect on people with diabetes type 1 and 2. So if you are going to have a bit of rice, but start off slowly, have a bit of rice and bring in a bit of wild rice with it to give you your body a different insulin load on the body, because what we're trying to do is elevate the immune system, and the only way to elevate the immune system is to liberate the gut so the gut can really do its job. And you don't want things putrefying in the gut or sticking to the end of the walls so the peristaltic action cannot work properly and produce correct fecal matter that's proper wastage leaving the body without all those beautiful nutrients leaving as well. It sounds simple, but that's how the body works. And it's for everything in the body. It's all about lowering inflammation in the body so that the body has a chance, the immune system has a chance to work for us. So you need to give it the optimum chance. Remember, everyone, there's a lot of fiber in vegetables. There's a lot of fiber. You don't just have to eat raw all the time. People say, I can't eat raw food, I feel sick. Actually, often, Princess Glory, I don't allow my patients to eat a lot of raw. I allow them to juice because their body cannot cope with it. They feel sick on it.
Thank you so much for that question. That question was a very loaded question. I want to say thank you to all those that have already started popping their questions on there. I really want to encourage you to ask the questions, because the way the answers are going, I am so super excited about how the answers are going. Dr. Zoe, if you would still like to do your slides, that's fine. When I put Aaron on, I can still upload your slides if you still would like to do that. But we've got lots of questions to get on with.
Don't worry. I think we're okay. I think we're okay. Right. We can talk about it. I think it's fine. The slides will take a long time. I think we're absolutely fine. I think people understand clearly. Don't worry at all. Yes.
All right, cool. So we're going to put on the next question. Please, I want to encourage everyone to put their questions so that we can ask the question. Cheryl Gray says, thank you for putting this webinar together. The National Institute of Health states that the insufficient evidence that wild yam can aid in treatment of symptoms like low libido and vaginal dryness. I am confused. My understanding is that wild yam is the base for the current HRT treatment. Are there any other research to state otherwise?
Can I answer that? No, it's not. It's not. No. The most important thing is for follicle stimulating hormone, you need zinc and copper, 10 parts zinc to 1 part copper. I've got it back here. But also you need to have your omegas right, not the fish, everyone, what the fish eat. The very good algae. It's so important to get the body working properly and to get your body hydrated, really hydrated properly. It's so important. There's many things. I think, the wild yam cream is good to rub on. It's very good. But you can use many things for vagina. And what I also use, I put organic coconut oil. I use black seed oil. Beautiful black seed oil, lowers inflammation, very good for vaginal dryness. And ours has 4% thermoquinone. It is incredible, from Ethiopia. I've got it behind me here in the Miron glass, the medical grade bottle to preserve it. Helps a lot with lowering the symptoms of menopause and helping. They use it all the time in Ethiopia, in India, in Israel. It is a sacred, beautiful, the nigella seeds.
Thank you very much. We're going to have the next question up. I hope we've been able to answer that question. Cheryl Gray, thank you so much for asking that question. And thank you for Dr. Zoe for telling us about black seed oil, because I didn't know that you could apply that onto the vagina. So for those of you
fantastic
that have dryness,
please, may I say, Princess Gloria, may I say, please don't fear in putting it inside the vaginal cavity, not right inside on the outside, because the skin will absorb. Remember, the biggest organ we have in our body is our skin. And this is what Ethiopian, Somalian women do all the time, and Indian women. It is a gift to us to have those seeds and help. Please lower your inflammation. These are all about inflammation. The more you lower your inflammation, you free the cells to absorb nutrients. Minerals cannot be made. They must be brought into the body. They can't be made, everybody. That's what's so important about minerals. So you need to bring them in on every level. You need to have them balanced in the body. And the other part of it is the storage of light in cells and the ability to emit biophotons is an important action in the cells, and that will only happen with minerals and water. And as the cell ages, it becomes affected by disease and they lose their ability to store light. It's about being able to store and these minerals to be used to produce our brilliant hormones. Yes, that's very, very important. And no species can survive without minerals, as they are the source of all life. So we need to bring them into our body through juices, through good nutrition. We need to bring them in and get them into the cells. And our food no longer provides minerals in sufficient quantities. And it will alter, I promise you, it will alter everything in your body, including vaginal dryness. And may I just say, please keep your bowels clean, everyone. Keep your bowels clean. I don't mind whether you do enemas or colonic irrigation, but keep your bowels clean. Can I take hormone replacements when I have had previous DVTs? I'm sorry, you're going to have to talk to your medical doctor about that. I was always very cautious in giving it. You need to have everything examined, as well as your liver and your kidneys, and a very good endocrinologist will advise you. But do proceed with caution, and do ensure that your hormone replacements are made specifically for you. That's the best advice I can give you. It's not one size fits all ever, but with DVTs, you've got to be very careful. Remember, my love, you are priceless. So you need the best doctor to create the best hormone replacement for you, and they will advise you. And the dosages are very important with DVTs, the dosages.
All right. I would like to welcome all the other people that have just joined us. We're having fun here with all the questions that Dr. Zoe has already answered to us. So there are 52 of us on there now.
Wonderful.
So
welcome,
please, for those
everyone.
of you,
welcome,
for those of you that
everyone.
have just joined, please put your questions in. We will take as many questions as we can. And we're going to have the next question pop up in a second.
And do not
Shelley's
consume.
asking,
Sorry, suggest
okay.
with low estrogen to increase. Absolutely. I can tell you what you can have immediately. Zinc. By the way, zinc is also very important for the prostate of men, especially black men. Black men are 10 times more likely to have prostate cancer, and they will, this is what I did for years, and they will bring symptoms of prostate cancer 10 to 15 years earlier than the Caucasian men. But very important with low estrogen. Also exercise. Please, everybody, exercise to build more muscle so that you can produce better hormones in your body. Exercise is very important. Just walk, breathing. All these will bring in estrogen. But often low estrogen is being dumped in the fat cells. So that's why exercise is important again. But zinc, copper, magnesium, beautiful DHA omega oils, omega-3. Remember, everybody, DHA is from the head up. EPA is for the neck down. Very important to remember. And iodine. Check your iodine levels. Check your thyroid levels. Is your T4, your thyroid 4, thyroxine 4, converting to T3? Very important, that conversion for estrogen.
Dr. Zoe, I want to ask a question. This is with regards to B12. Every time lots of my clients come to me, they always say the doctor told them B12 is high. How does that affect us as women, with regards to our health? We when we do the scans, we tell them that, your vitamin is low. Sometimes their B12 is normal, but their doctor said it's high. So do they stop taking B12, or should they to take everything else, or just continue taking their B12?
That is an excellent question. And the most important thing, if your B12 levels are high, you need to address it with folate. Very important, because folate will bind B12 and lower it. You're not getting enough folate, or the folate you're getting is not going into the cells. I give a specific folate from a company. We don't do folate, but I address folate regularly with women. But also, Princess Glory, vitamin E. Vitamin E is very important, especially for menopausal women. Extremely important. And if their B12 levels are high, it's often because they're lacking selenium. They need high doses of folate, and you need to look at their iron levels. And I assure you, you will change the B12 picture completely. Don't forget selenium, everyone. There's nothing in our soils Selenium is so important for women, for menopausal women, and for children, for growing children. You want zinc and selenium. So address it from that point of view. I give selenium if they don't have a weight problem, Princess Glory. I give it in Brazil nuts, but I only choose Brazil nuts from a particular part of South America that I know are organic. But often someone has a nut allergy, they can't take it. They can't, their liver is too toxic, they can't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Or they have a weight problem, and I avoid it because I give other oils instead, just to say, because that can happen. The weight will begin to come on, central obesity, when you go into menopause. It's quite common, quite common.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zoe. I'm going to give you a break so you can have your tea or coffee. And I'm going to introduce the juice doctor now to come in. Whilst we're getting more people to ask more questions, so we'll get him to come in, we'll ask questions, and we'll ask you a couple more questions. So I think we're going to show a little 1 minute, 2 minute video just to introduce him, and then we'll go to ask him questions as well. But we have lots of questions to get on with today. But thank you so much for what you've done so far. It's been brilliant. I've been taking notes. I'm sure my head, lots of people are seeing my head down. I'm not sleeping. I am taking notes. I'm taking lots of notes. And I'm like, oh my God, 12 glasses of water. That is really interesting. So now I can go around and say, you know what, the doctor said 12 glasses of water. So yes, the video will come on in a second. So
in a world where well-being takes center stage, we introduce a luminary figure and true pioneer in natural health and wellness, who has transformed countless lives with his natural health expertise and holistic approach. Introducing Aaron Warden, also known as the Juice Doctor. The Juice Doctor is an award-winning clinical nutritionist, natural health researcher, detox specialist, and functional health practitioner. He's a trailblazer, an innovator, and the producer of botanical health products. You may recognize him as the star of Channel 4 and Sky TV's Supersized Kids, where Aaron took a 26-stone teenager on an emotional roller coaster to transform his life and ultimately his weight. As a social entrepreneur, humanitarian, CEO, and founder of Vivo Nutrients, Go Detox, and MI Healthcare Group, the Juice Doctor is committed to providing natural health solutions that produce real results. His mission is simple: freedom through well-being. Join us for an extraordinary and insightful well-being experience as the Juice Doctor takes us through the award-winning wellness blueprint that has successfully helped thousands achieve natural weight loss, increased energy, amazing mental clarity, glowing skin, and overcome major health challenges without medication, bad diets, or stepping into a gym. The Juice Doctor's approach to wellness is revolutionary and cuts through uncertainty by thoroughly examining all aspects of your health and lifestyle. Once the root cause is identified, nature's finest organic ingredients are employed to create an inner environment conducive to accelerated well-being from within. Don't miss this life-changing opportunity to transform your life and inspire a new perspective on health. Bring your health-related questions and get organic recommendations and enhanced food-based solutions that will supercharge your health like never before. Book in for a non-invasive scan and consultation today and get ready for a transformative experience that will exceed your expectations. Your journey to holistic optimal wellness starts today. Make sure to follow the Juice Doctor on Instagram at ask.juicedoctor and on YouTube at askjuicedoctor.
Thank you so much, Juice Doctor, for joining us this evening. We're so delighted to have you on our screen. The first, you've obviously, you're looking very African this evening. Thank you so much, sir. And the first question I want to ask, I'm sure you're probably listening to everything that's been going on, and Dr. Zoe has given us so many tips on vitamins, minerals, and things we should be taking. One of the things I know that is very one of your babies is telling your clients to drink lots of water. So I'm going to start with the water question. What do you think water does to us? How can water help us as women? And should we drink 12 glasses like Dr. Zoe recommended, or should we drink even more than 12? I know that you normally recommend like 10 glasses a day, which is about 5 liters, I think. But yeah, Dr. Zoe told us to move it one further. So I'd also like to ask about the types of water that we should drink. I know that you've been drinking alkaline water lately. Tell us about that, how that's been feeling. And we're going to ask Dr. Zoe as well about alkaline water as well. But, Drew's doctor, over to you. Just wanted to find out about the water situation, because I know a couple of people that have logged on. They're on a 7-day fruit and juice fast at the moment, so that they know how much water to drink whilst on their fast.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me today. And Dr. Zoe, it's a pleasure hearing you and seeing you again after such a long time.
You too. It's a pleasure to be on. Pleasure.
Awesome.
It's lovely.
It was like I was just hearing myself speak. You were talking about water, you were talking about sleep, you were talking about, the amount of water. I was like, wow, this is exactly what we preach to our clients day in, day out. We've actually coined our well-being blueprint based around those 4 key parameters. We call it the HERN protocol, which is HERN. H is for hydration, because that's the number one health pillar that we always advocate for as one of the most important factors that you can use for improving your health, or reducing inflammation or any kind of issues that you'll be having with your body. E is for elimination, as you said, keeping the colon clean. We love that. We focus on keeping the colon clean. In fact, I used to have a private law that if you came around me and you never used our oxyflush to cleanse your colon, you couldn't be my friend, because you're going to have lots of waste inside you that's going to make you be very toxic, and that's going to affect the way you think, and it's going to affect the way you speak. So you couldn't be around me if you had a toxic colon. So E is for elimination. R is for rest, because if you're not sleeping, you're not healing. So there's no way you can have any level of healing without you having adequate amounts of sleep. And the last one, which you also mentioned, which is N for nutrition. Everything is food. Everyone's eating food, but they're not necessarily getting the maximum amounts of nutrients. That's what they need. The body's only breaking down food, and the whole process of digestion is to extract the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, the nitrates, all the things that you're meant to get from food. But as you said, oftentimes the food doesn't have the levels of nutrients that it used to have. So our body's actually always ending up, even after having a very substantial meal, even sometimes healthy meals, we don't often get the right amount of nutrients that we need. So whether we like it or not, we have to engage with some level of supplementation to make sure our body receives the nutrients, the minerals, the vitamins that it needs in order for it to function optimally. So yeah, that's our well-being blueprint. So it's just lovely listening to you and hearing you. It's like just reading it off from a different perspective. And I'm like, see, these are universal laws. They cut across every different type of practice and every different type of healing methodology. So thank you so much for highlighting that. It's just a pleasure hearing you speak.
It's my pleasure. And I just wanted to say I started because I'd see people with cancers and illnesses, and they had the nutrients in their blood, but it wasn't working for them. So this is beautiful to hear.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So important to get this message through to people.
Yes. And this is really why, we really love these kind of forums, so that people can come and really be empowered with the information that enables them to, take decisions that are going to be beneficial to their health. And I kid you not, the chat is at the moment flooded with questions, and we want to get through all of them, as many of them as we can.
That's why we're here.
So I'm also wearing 2 hats, and I'm going to be a guest, but I'm also being the moderator. So I'm moderating to make sure we get all the questions in. So please, those people that have just joined us, you've seen some questions. All the questions are coming up on the screen. If you have a question, please do type it in the chat, no matter how small it is, because what you may think is irrelevant to you may be very important to somebody else. So whatever question you ask, no matter how small, there's going to be some relevance, and people will benefit from getting an answer. So Princess Glory, so sorry, I just got so excited. What was the question you asked again? So I can quickly do it.
The question was about water. How does water help us? I know that, when you give them the juices or you give them product, you say to them, drink water. Like, for example, you give them the oxyflush, for example. You tell them to drink water when they take it to clean their colon properly. And whilst they're taking all the products, they take water. So if there's anyone that is logged on tonight and they've just recently signed up to your program, what is the amount of water? I know they're taking water with your products, but what is the amount of water that they need to take? Dr. Zoe has told us, including our teas and our coffees and everything, we need to take 12.
Well, funnily enough, the body is over 70% water. And this is a really interesting phenomenon that we see. The body is 70% water, but at least 70% of our clients that come in, their main underlying issue, be it weight problems, arthritis, sciatica, dry hair, dry skin, dry eyes, over 70% of their problems are actually related to their lack of hydration. So we've now coined it, that condition called UCD, which is unintentional chronic dehydration. People are suffering with UCD and they don't even know it. They don't even realize it. Let me give some examples. We've had people that have come in with sciatica, serious back pain. They've had it for 9 months, 10 months, even up to 2 years, sciatic back pain. And we said to them, you don't need medication. You don't need a program. You don't even need to do a detox. You just need to increase your hydration. They're like, what? And we've done it time and time again. I'm going to answer 2 questions in one. We've told people sometimes, people ask us, what is the right amount of water to drink? And the first thing I say to them is, your water intake needs to match your water usage. If you're a person that sits down in front of a computer, you don't speak to everybody all day, you've got no friends on Facebook, you're hardly on the phone, you're not going to have the same requirement for water as somebody who's maybe a teacher, standing up all day, using muscles, talking, going to the gym 3-4 times a week. You're not going to have the same demand for water by your body. So your water intake needs to match your level of usage. So the more you use, the more you sweat, the more you exert yourself, that's going to determine the level of hydration you're going to need to maintain to be able to maintain those muscles and those functions that require water. So we've had people have come in and they've had sciatica. The first I've said to them is, what's your level of water? Oh, I drink about 1 liter a day. Why do you only drink water a day? Oh, because I don't want to keep going to the toilet. So 2 things that we see on a regular basis. Number 1, the reason that they have sciatica is because they have a thing called synovial fluid. That's the fluid that cushions all the joints and it fills up the joints in the back, especially and in the knees. And that gel, when your body becomes dehydrated, that gel starts to dry up and those cushions become flat. When that cushion becomes flat, those bones now don't have that function that separates them. So the bones start to rub against each other and the nerves that travel down that pathway, they will then just derail and they'll jump out of position and they'll start to travel up and down along the wrong pathway. So now they've got that shooting pain traveling up and down their back, up and down their spine. And no medication, no anti-inflammatory drugs can do it because it's a nerve problem. How do we resolve that? We get them to increase their water. If you drink 2 liters, we get them to double it, minimum, double it to 4. If you do 3, we get them to double it to 6. And I've done it so many times, I can actually literally say to you, I can guarantee you, do that, double your water intake for 7 days, maximum 14 days, and I guarantee you, the first thing you notice that your pain will start to reduce. The second thing you notice is that you start to have no more shooting up and down, and that sciatic pain can actually literally disappear. How? Simple. Because the synovial gel, because the body will prioritize, when it has a little bit of water, it will prioritize where that water goes. The synovial gel will start to fill up. When the gel starts to fill up, that cushion will start to fill out. Guess what? The cushion fills out, then the back, now the joints now separates, the nerve now come back into place by itself, organically, and there's no more need for any back pain. We've seen it, we've done it time and time again, and we've proven it. That's number 1. The second thing that they notice, just by doing that same exercise, is that many women are struggling with what they call nocturnal incontinence. They're waking up in the night to go to the toilet 2 or 3 or 4 times a night. It's the same process because they're dehydrated. How are they dehydrated? Because the same thing that controls the muscles in the back is also controls the muscles in the bladder. The bladder has 2 muscles, the sphincter, the upper sphincter and the lower sphincter. When those muscles don't have any work to do, they start to atrophy. It means that they start to waste away. So when the water gets put into the blood by the bladder, into the bladder from the blood, overnight, the bladder can't hold it, so it has to, can't hold it. You got to go to the toilet. So when you increase the water intake during the day, you're taking those muscles to the gym. They're opening, they're closing, they're opening, they're closing, they're opening, they're closing. So you urinate more during the day, but at the night time, you'll find that you're waking up less in the night. Why? Because you've increased your capacity for holding fluid. So that's 2 issues that get addressed, serious conditions that get addressed just by increasing water. So I can't stress enough how important it is for you to increase your levels of hydration. So in terms of the amount, again, it depends on how much you use, how busy you are, how active you are. The more active you are, the more you need to drink. So that's my short and simple answer to that question. Because I'm really conscious that we've got a lot of other people that have a lot of questions. If you want to add anything to that, feel free.
That was what absolutely wonderful. It really was. And I don't think people realize what a detoxer it is, but detoxifying, but also the fascia in the body, everyone, exactly what the juice doctor said, which was to my heart. The fascia holds everything together, and without water it won't work exactly perfect. I think people have no idea how important. It's also the hard drive. It brings all the information through the body.
Absolutely.
And so we've got a lot of questions, haven't we? We're going to
Yeah.
we are not going anywhere, everyone. Is sourdough bread okay?
Back to you, Princess Grace. So I'm just gonna sit back.
Okay.
I don't think it is. No, I don't think it is. It depends what you have, my dear Michaela, what you have. But if you're talking about menopause and you want to, I would remove the bread. I would really remove it. I do with my patients because I need to clear the slate and reset the body, and I can't do it without it. It's a question that we'd need to know more about you. But if you are menopausal and you are bloated, I would remove it instantly.
Dr. Zoe, can I ask you a question? Because I have been researching about Ezekiah bread, and I've been thinking of getting one. But every time I go Holland and Bar, they never have any. So is Ezekiah bread good then? Because it's made from seeds.
It is. It's made from seeds and sprouted seeds, and if it's organic, it's very good, absolutely. But I tend to ask my patients to crush the seeds through their juice. I really do. I tend to do it because I know the seeds are fresh and they put it. But some people, Princess Glory, they need to have bread. They need to have something. So it's really the best that you can have. And sometimes the German breads, the really good ones where they've sprouted the grains and crushed them, there are good shops that have it, are also beneficial. And they absorb oils well. I ask them to put oils on there. They absorb oils well as well. The avocados and the oils, and it satiates people because they have to eat something. They have to eat something. So it really helps them. Dr. Zoe, you mentioned seaweed as something. Absolutely. Does it? No, ours doesn't. Not just ours. This one, organic, harvested, does not at all interfere whatsoever with thyroxine. I give it all the time, or any thyroid. It's the opposite because of all the nutrients within. The biggest problem. Please, Aaron, Dr. Let's tell people the biggest thing that's happened is removing those important salts from our table. With people bringing white salts has destroyed the health of the nation. Removing the Celtic salts, in Morocco, they have 69 salts with different colors, and they put them all in the cooking. So bringing in something like this, just a spoonful with all the nutrients, I cannot even begin to tell you the difference it'll make. The reason we sell it is because I saw a difference in my patients, in my women. They were phoning me and say, I feel better. What is it? Apart from the nano gold, I bring the nano platinum and everything. It really helps. So your question is, dear Bev, it won't interfere. What do you mean by sprouted grains? What I mean is I sprout my grains. I sprout them before I use them. And they're delicious. They're full of chlorophyll. And they have they're live. You can still cook them, and they have a different process in the body. But I'll let you do the sprouted grains as well. Can your body? Yes. It needs some carbohydrates. But you're getting carbohydrates. You in vegetables and other areas you are. Of course, you're getting carbohydrates. So you don't remove them completely, Marcia. Oh, carbohydrates are in, your sweet potato has some carbohydrates, but carbohydrates are mostly in your grains.
The only thing with carbohydrates, it's good, Marsha. Yeah, it's an interesting question. But the thing is, with carbohydrates, you just have to try and make sure you stay away from the refined type of carbohydrates, and try and keep to more whole foods, as much whole foods as you can as possible. In terms of your first question, can the body work without carbohydrates? Absolutely, because if you go into what they call ketogenics or a keto diet, that's when the body starts to use an alternative source of fuel, where it will start to burn fat. So if you have a high fat diet, which is sometimes even more healthy than carbohydrates, you'd actually get a lot more nutritional value, because a lot of the organs in the body, especially the brain, it relies on fat. So the more fat you have in your diet, sometimes the healthy type of fats, is the better you have of the distribution of energy and the body's ability to absorb it and to break those down. So just having that knowledge of, you know, the right type of foods and the right food sources, as you rightly said, is also going to help you to make better decisions in relation to your health. But just make sure you stay away from the refined carbs and try and stick to the more whole food based carbs.
Let's tell them about the good fats, the chia. Let's tell them, because they always ask me. I allow butter. I allow some good butter. I really do. I love it. Some good grass-fed butter. So, you know, and again, really look at the most important thing as well. I keep going on. I've seen this a lot in my patients. Look at the hygiene of the mouth, what's going on. Look at your teeth. Look at what's going on. Very important. Please, I want Dr. Zoe, that some of us finished work late, get home at about 11 p.m. and get to bed and I've got to get up at 5 in the morning. Don't mean we have enough sleep. No, you don't have enough sleep at all. And that's a long day's work on many levels. Rose, that's a very long day's work. But you can take countermeasures. I would really insist you go for a walk at lunchtime, do breathing, take countermeasures. Don't just come home stressed. But the other thing you can do, which I have a patient who works like that, I ask her to put a little bit of magnesium salt in the water and put her feet in before she goes to bed. That will also help. It just takes a minute, even while and don't eat late. If you get back that time, I urge you not to eat. That's the worst thing you can do. That's even worse than not sleeping. You're having less sleep. So there's so many countermeasures you could take. But at lunchtime, if you would just go for a walk and close your eyes and breathe through the nose, not through the mouth, through the nose, please. I just I used to work long hours. And with children, I used to just breathe and raise my hands, but through the nose. That will really help you a lot.
And just to add to that real quickly, Rose, I had a client, she came to us with chronic pain. She had some really severe pain. And we worked with her to get this pain down. Her pain was all over her body, you know, her shoulders, her arms, her back, her neck, her knees. And she's only about, 45, early 50s at the most. And one of the things that I said to her that was hampering her healing was her shift, her work shift. Now, she worked constant nights. And I said to her, if you really want to get your body well, you need to change this job. There's no nice way of putting it. You need to change your job, change your shift. And, she reluctant, but I said, you know what? We did 3 weeks. She didn't get the results she should have got. We did 6 weeks. The results were coming, but they're very slow. I said, this is your job that's holding you up. You're not sleeping at the right time. Yes, you're sleeping during the day, but you're not sleeping at the right time. Your body is set based on your circadian rhythm to sleep at the right time. And if you go against that, your body's natural healing mechanism is going to be thrown into disarray. So the healing that's supposed to take place during that natural healing cycle is not happening. Eventually, she said, you know what? I can't take this anymore. I'm going to do what you say. And she changed her job. Oh, my gosh. She became like night and day, literally, pardon the pun. She became like night. Job done. Pain disappeared within 14 days. All the pain had gone.
And inflammation. And the inflammation in the body. And I ask people as well to really use nano gold, really use these beautiful minerals, but absolutely change. But sometimes people can't. But the truth is, if you can, I say to everyone, we're precious. Your health is beyond your truest wealth.
Absolutely. And gold is an amazing product for the brain, for the bones, for the joints, for inflammation. It just does so many things. I've seen so many miraculous things happening with nano gold that I've had to do my own additional research, and I've shared that with Stephen. It was like, wow, are you serious? I'm like, yes, this is what we discovered.
Great. Well done. Well done.
Oh, incredible.
Every cell in the body has gold. Every cell in the body has gold. Every cell. That's how important. Fantastic. Very good for Parkinson, multiple sclerosis. Studies have been shown that gold nanoparticles that were inferior to ours help the enzymes in the brain being produced that lines the myelin sheath. The myelin sheath, everyone, is the sheath that protects the nerves. If you have multiple sclerosis, that will tend to harden and crack. And the gold also helps with pain, helps with depression, producing dopamine in the brain. It is magnificent. I urge everybody to try it and use it. And Princess Glory will tell you exactly, but it's the anti-inflammatory. It is magnificent. Same with platinum. But also the platinum for the electromagnetic, the left and right, the platinum for building your body up and energizing your cells. It is that's incredible that you sent him. He's got researchers working around the clock.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to say something about my experience of gold. I think if you're having problems with sleep, the combination of gold and magnesium is phenomenal. When I started taking myself, I found that I slept a bit longer. Even my son, I'll give him gold and magnesium. He'll sleep for long hours. And, he'll wake up in the weekend feeling relaxed and calm. So definitely gold and magnesium, the two always go together. And also, if you have pain, especially most women that sit long hours, if you have pain in the back, magnesium is one that I take with gold as well. And I recommend it to people that have pain, and it has worked. So magnesium and gold, they're definitely 2 stars that people should be having. Next question.
For depression, maybe we just say many people at the moment have depression, brain fog, brain degeneration. It supports brain activity, helps with nerve conductivity. But I give it to a lot of teenagers who have really suffered during COVID. I give it to a lot. It's fantastic for depression. They use it all the time in homeopathy for depression. They make tinctures, homeopathic remedies. So
gold, just so you know, gold is one of the highest conductors of electricity. We are electric-based units. And if you want to really get a quick conductor, a fast conductor of electricity, gold. That's why I don't know if you're into music or you have headphones. When you have a gold jack, it conducts the signal a lot better. You have a lot more clearer, less interference. Gold actually repairs the DNA, it repairs damaged DNA. So it repairs any kind of syntax or errors that may show up in your programming of your cells. But one of the things that you'll realize when it comes to the gold, when you take gold, you'll find that you dream a lot more vividly. Your dreams are a lot more clear, and some people don't dream. But when you start to take gold, because the brain signals are starting to speed up, their communication pathways are more open and more sensitive, you'll start to find that you start to dream because areas of the brain start to become woken up that weren't woken before. And if you go to the Bible, you'll see when Moses came down from the mountain and he saw that the Israelites had started to make calves and idols out of gold, Moses, who was raised in Egypt, he knew about this alchemy and how to use these metals. So what he did, he smashed the gold, he ground it into powder, he put it in water, and he made them drink it. He made them drink the gold. Why did he make them drink the gold? Because he saw that their divinity had dropped. They'd become more carnal. They'd lost their levels of spirituality. So in order for him to raise back their levels of spirituality, he had to get them to drink gold because he knew it would stimulate those brain centers to put them back in touch with their higher self and back in touch with the Most High again. So there's a lot of science and historic use of gold way back to 5,000 years in Moses' time. So gold is not something that just came about this today, but they're kind of hiding that knowledge because they don't need to know. They always tell you that you can only wear it or put it on your body, but they will not recommend to drink it. But it's biblical.
The golden goblet of truth. Centuries. And
thank you so much.
Let's not forget platinum. Let's not forget platinum. It really is phenomenal as well. It's the catalyst for everything, but it rebalances the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. Just incredible. But I give a lot of platinum to people who have really had a lot of treatments, and it just builds them back up. Sorry, Princess Glory. Can I take black seed oil, and how many drops? Yes, you can. I start off with a small tablespoon. This one is in the Miron glass. It's phenomenal. From a nation in Ethiopia, the gentleman Daniel brings it, and it's really something else. But this one has the highest thymoquinone known, that we can actually say 4% because it does have 4%. And by the way, everyone, keep these bottles afterwards. Keep these bottles and put your own oil in there or anything in there, because this is Miron glass, biophotonic glass. You'll feel greater, but you can also rub it on your skin.
Can you get vegetables from, can you get carbohydrate from vegetables? Dr. Zoe, if you want to help us with that question. Or...
Yes, of course you can. You can get lots of carbohydrates from carrots, celery. Mushrooms are very high in carbohydrates. Mushrooms are. Yes, vegetables are. But remember, kale, chew it. But remember to, and especially obviously potatoes, carrots, parsnips. I don't eat potatoes at all, but I eat sweet potatoes, onions. They're very high in carbohydrates, the best kind. But you've also got your leeks, your beans, your peas are very high. But the carbohydrates are also in spinach, they're in cabbage, they're in radishes, they're in avocados, they're in asparagus. Chew your vegetables really well. Chew them really well. Masticate them and chew them to really be able to mulch and get that carbohydrate out.
Bit of homework for you all before we go into the next question. If you want to kind of see the power of vegetables and how they can really be used to empower your health, especially if you have any conditions that you're struggling with, watch What the Health. If you have Netflix, watch What the Health. What the Health. What the Health. That's number one. And number two homework for you is to watch The Game Changers. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it before, but for those of you who are new to it, watch The Game Changers and What the Health. If you want to see how vegetables have been used to really transform people's health from really serious states of sickness into phenomenal wellness, and in a very short space of time, What the Health and The Game Changers. Dr. Zoe, this one is direct at you. I had to share this one because I've got something to say on this, but I said, let you come back to it.
Your proposals seem expensive. Oh, beautiful question. Thank you for asking that. I really appreciate that question. Philippa, thank you for asking that. No, Philippa, not expensive at all. Vitamins, normal vitamins, are full of excipients, colorants. I've seen vitamins and minerals before in the factory, what they do to it. They also have to put antibacterial agents in it, but not necessarily put it on the bottle, even when they say steamed and organic. I promise you, they just don't have to put the quantity in that the EU, even though we're not EU anymore, allow. So if you buy a bottle of nanomignesium, every single, because it's elemental, you don't have to liberate anything at all. It doesn't have to go through the gut, the duodenum, none of it. You have it ready for flight or fight immediately. As I'm talking to you now, and I'm here with Princess Gloria and the juice doctor, I can assure you we are using tons of magnesium as we're speaking to you. Immediately. So we need magnesium, and it's about having it immediately. So you need 4 pots of a normal magnesium, if you can liberate enough through your stomach to get equivalent to a bottle. But I say to people all the time, if you can't afford it, I say to them, take a smaller amount so you know some of it is going into your cells, and then the rest with juices, with organic juices or foods, and a magnesium powder. So it works anyway. It works. But thank you. That's a fantastic question. That really is.
I was just going to add to that, Philippa, that we always have a budget for everything. We have a budget for our bags, we have a budget for our shoes, we have a budget for our hair.
Can I? Thank you. I was going to say, that is excellent what I say. Excellent. Thank you.
We have a budget for our holidays, even if you take our sick But do we have a budget for our health?
Amen.
Everything else, but we don't have a budget for our health. So we now have to start incorporating a health budget, especially now that you see what's happening with the NHS. Somebody was complaining that they had to wait 2 years for their appointment. They're speaking today on LBC. 96 weeks they had to wait for an appointment just to discuss the results of a scan that took place 96 weeks prior. So the data is probably out of date now, but she's got her appointment almost 2 years later. So the NHS is pretty much being privatized. So whether you like it or not, you're going to need to start to develop a health budget. So start thinking about what you're going to put aside for your health, just like you put aside for your hair, you put aside for your nails, you put aside for your bags, you put aside for your shoes, you put aside for your shopping, for your food. Start to do the same.
Absolutely. And I say all the time, I say, you've got a beautiful car out there. Oh, yes. I pay it every month. I said, you wouldn't put cheap petrol in it. Oh, no. So why would you put it in your body? So why would you put that in your body? If you wouldn't put cheap petrol in your car, why on earth would you put that in your body?
All right, Dr. Zoe, thank you so much. This has been a wonderful session. I wish we had so much time.
Can we
But
go
yes,
on a
we
bit
still got more
longer?
questions to go through. The next question is, how can I consistently reduce the size of my fibroids? Dr. Zoe, that question is definitely yours.
It is. I have to say, I get very dramatic with my clients. I start immediately focusing on the liver and lowering inflammation intensely. And I also address the bleeding, the iron deficiency. I use nano iron because there's no dysbiosis, there's no side effects. But I use a lot of minerals, but I ask them to remove everything that is causing the inflammation in the body to give them the best chance they can. And I even ask them to often go and have a liver cleanse. I work very intensely with a naturopath, and I ask them to go for a liver cleanse and cleanse it. But after I've done all the analysis of their hormones, etc., and I've checked that their ovaries are okay with the C125 and other tests, but they often have a massive improvement. And exercise, everybody, please bring in exercise. And often the fibroids, the whole trajectory, the entire picture of that area will alter exponentially. And if you do need surgery, it is, you will recover quicker and it will really improve. But you can control fibroids by radically changing your lifestyle and your diet and bringing in those amazing minerals. I've seen it myself. I've actually seen it change because I work a lot with women with fibroids, because it's going off the Richter scale, but not just fibroids that are occurring younger, and fibroids that are causing major problems. So once I've had it analyzed where the fibroids actually are, because that's important as well. Where are the fibroids? What position are they in the body? That is pivotal. Where they are they inside the womb? Are they outside the womb? All those questions are very important with fibroids. So once I've looked at that, are they uterine, which are the most common, they're basically benign tumors in women. And once I've looked at all that, I start to address it all. So it is very, very important to work by detoxing the body intensely and by lowering inflammation. And I use nutraceuticals. I tend to use nutraceuticals, obviously curcumin, turmeric, I use a lot. Naturally, I use a lot of macaberry, where I make smoothies with macaberry, bringing in those extraordinary polyphenols. I don't know, I'm sure you do as well, Juice Doctor Erin. I love organic macaberry. The medical studies have shown that it really helps lower inflammation in the body. It's a beautiful bright red, a berry that's from South America. And obviously I bring in the seaweeds and the fermented chlorella to start collating that liver and give the liver as much help as you possibly can. And I have seen in my practice amazing changes. The other thing is, women are waiting a long time for operations, and usually most women want to control it rather than have surgery.
I would like to ask a question with regards to that, because I've seen people that have done the surgery first time and it came back again. So in that sort of situation, would you advise them to go for a second surgery, or they just change their diet? And what's the best diet for them? Do they go keto? What sort of stuff can they do to help?
Princess Glory, that's a beautiful question. I stabilize their blood sugars. If you haven't stabilized the blood sugar and the insulin to treat, if they've got high blood pressure, if you haven't done that, they will not improve. I reduce exposure to endocrine disruptive chemicals, and sugar is the first one by stabilizing it. I detoxify. I do not ask them to go back if they can avoid it. I implement effective exercise and nutritional plans, but I address what is causing the estrogen dominance in the body. I urge them not, because they haven't addressed what has brought it on. And I also look at, Princess Glory, I look at trauma. I send them to an extraordinary, I'm a biodynamic craniosacral therapist. I ask them to look at the trauma, because that part of their body, if you are constantly menstruating, if you are constantly bleeding, your womb is crying. And women need to look at that part of their body and address it and balance it. And I cannot tell you the difference it makes. And if they're supported, the difference it makes in their body.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Zoe. We still got 20 questions to go, so we've got like.
I'm here as long as we have an audience. Let's go.
But we've got like, we want to try to keep it to 30 seconds each of the questions.
Of course,
we finish at the right time, so that we can get more people, turning up and turning up. Doctor, I don't know if you had anything to say with regards.
Yeah, just very quickly on the fibroids. I mean, we love exactly everything you're saying there, Dr. Zoe, on regards to the detox and endocrine disruptors, but we have a very clearly defined approach when it comes to fibroids. Number one, prevention, prevent them from happening in the first place, and number two is to go straight for the jugular vein. We've got to reduce them and treat them by understanding the pathways and the mechanisms that they're using to form. So in terms of prevention, understanding what is causing them, the biggest cause of these fibroids is, as you mentioned earlier, endocrine disruptors. And how are these endocrine disruptors get into the body? A high level of them is getting in through pesticides. If you have a high ingestion of pesticide-laced foods like bread, wheat, pasta, rice, these foods are laced with pesticides. If you go on Google and you type pesticide, glyphosate, etc., glyphosate, you go on Google, you type in pesticides, you will just see people coming up in hazmat suits. You didn't type pesticide protection, you just type pesticides. Hazmat suits covering their face, covering their nose, covering their eyes, covering their hands. That means they don't want it in their eyes, they don't want it in their nose, they don't want it in their mouth. They don't want these chemicals anywhere near any part of their body, but they're spraying it on your food. So when you eat those foods, those same organisms come into your body and they start to interfere with your endocrine system. What do I mean by that? The chemicals they're spraying on those bugs are designed to interfere with their hormones or their endocrine system, which is their reproductive system, so that they do not reproduce for the following harvest and destroy the harvest the following season. So when you eat those foods that are laced with those chemicals, those same organisms come into your body and start to interfere with your hormones and your endocrine system and start disrupting the natural flow of your hormones. So the first thing you'll notice is that you start to develop growths, you start to develop tumors, you start to develop fibroids. So the first thing is to recognize, if you have since we see people that have fibroids, I say, right, I know what you're eating. It's your diet. So cut out a lot of those foods, the bread, the things that are bringing the chemicals in and the toxins into your body. That's number one. Then obviously you start to do the detoxification. The second stage is that, just to keep it simple, for you, Maxine, you asked the question, write this down. Womanhood. We have a product called Womanhood. Womanhood is a product that's designed to target all of the areas that are involved in the development of fibroids and to help them to bring the body back into order using food and nutrition. So like you said, it helps support the liver, it helps support the reproductive system, but it goes into the thing called fibrin. Fibrin is like the process that gets formed, which causes the actual fibroid to grow. It starts to degrade the fibrin by breaking it down. So you start to feel within a few weeks, you feel the fibroid start to shrink because the process that was used to grow it in the first place is now being degraded and broken down. So it's no longer able to survive in the body. We use things like peony root, we use things like red raspberry leaf, we use things like milk thistle. These are all extracts, they're all plant extracts, all combined together. But the polyphenols and the compounds that are combined together when they're received into the body, oh my God, we take no credit for what the body does. The body is a natural born healer. It knows what to do when it's got the right resources. Our job is to help facilitate that in creating that environment.
Get out of the way.
That's it. And it just takes over, does what it's designed to do. So Womanhood, get it from our website. You know the website. If you don't know it, we'll share it in the chat. vivonutrients.com. Womanhood, try and probably get about 3 bottles. Then you add that with your detox. You get your minerals, your magnesium, your platinum, your zinc, all the things that we're talking about today. Get them into your body as part of that detox because it provides the body with the tools and the raw materials that it needs to repair itself. All right, so we're going to try and get through these questions.
Can I just say something also very important? Is that it was just in there with womanhood, was that if a woman, young women, if you have constant iron deficiency over a period of time, address it immediately. What you do when you're young will have a major effect later on. I go on and on to young women about this, how important.
Okay, so we'll do the 10 questions. 10 minutes, sorry, 10 questions.
I didn't want to say any more because we're running out of time, so I stopped.
30 seconds each. Let's see how many we can get through because I know we're going to try and get off here by 9 o'clock. So we're going to try and get through. and we've got loads in there. So over to you, Dr. Zay. Your first study, and if I say fast, I'll just go on to the next one. So
yes,
information on intermittent fasting. Over to you. Clock starts now.
yes. No, but I mean, Doctor, I usually ask them. I tell them to stop eating late at night,
Yes.
and really stop, because I cannot get them well without doing it. That's the only way. I ask them. Then the next morning, if they break the fast, I ask them to break it with a beautiful chlorella, or I ask them just to do a lovely juice. Normally celery juice. I love celery and cabbage juice. I love it. So that's all I can say. I know you're saying, we could go on. We've got to do this again. It's so much fun. Because so much fun, I'm not leaving.
Just to add to that, intermittent fasting is a fantastic way to help the body to regulate itself, because it gives the body a chance to rest and reset. It gives the digestive system a chance to rest, because you load it with food from morning, afternoon, evening. It has no time to rest. Over 80% of your immune system is in your gut. So if you want your gut to start to serve your body, you need to allow the body and the gut some time to rest, recuperate, and rejuvenate itself. The only way you can do that is by intermittent fasting. If you want to start with 8 hours, which is what you do overnight anyway, then you want to increase it to 12 hours, then 16 hours. But you know about it, you've come across it, it's a very good thing. Continue to do your research and start to incorporate it into your diet as much as you can.
And please do 12 hours.
I'd like to say something with regards to the intermittent fasting. I remember my chiropractor said to me, eat between 12 and 8. And I have been recommending that to those in my community as well, telling them to stop eating after 8 o'clock. But for people that work late, what's the time limit if you're doing intermittent fasting?
If you work late, I'm urging you not to come home when you've been working all day and eat. It's the worst thing you can do. If you need to eat something, I ask them to do a juice, or I ask them just to do a bowl of some steamed veg, because they go on about it. I would really not. You can put some oil, but I would really urge you, it's the worst thing you can do. Your body begins to go into an inflammatory response. It wants to sleep. And it just won't do it. It will not do it. You're weighing heavily on the We're already, look, when we get over 45, medical studies have shown, I saw this in my work, the stomach loses its acidity by 42%. So we're already on the back foot here. So I would really, really urge people, and the more you do it, everyone, the better you'll get at it. The better it will become easier. Like everything, push yourselves. It will become easier to do. In the beginning, it's not. In the beginning, you can't sleep because your blood sugar levels are going crazy. I often ask people to drink something, and often I ask them to take some magnesium or make a lovely drink. But don't forget your B vitamins, everybody. It's so important to have your B vitamins, especially if you work irregular hours, a good B complex.
Oh, thank you so much.
Francis.
And vaginal dryness. Everything we've said. We did start with this, everything we've said, but you really, if you've got eczema, you need to bring in some zinc and spray the zinc on the outside of the skin. We've got an amazing product. We've got Glow and Shine that's got zinc, platinum, and gold. It's incredible, but you could also spray. I ask women to spray zinc into their vagina. It really does help. But I know the formula you were discussing, Erin, a doctor, I know that will help. From everything you said about those ingredients, I know it will also help vaginal dryness. And a lot of vaginal dryness is they need to hydrate. They desperately need to hydrate, desperately. But also stop over washing the area and take care. What I will only put organic cotton. Stop. And I ask you not, there's so many things you need to do. Watch your washing powders. Yes. Everything. And a lot of it's so important what you do, what you bring in as well.
Can I ask one question with regard to that? Does that mean, some people only wear 100% cotton knickers, for example? I couldn't wear anything else because I'll have irritation. Would you recommend that they wear only 100% cotton, or they can wear
cotton, and there's a phenomenal shops that do not charge a lot that will sell you beautiful underwear with cotton that hasn't been bleached. Be careful, everyone. And if you don't get it, make sure you wash it a few times. Please watch your washing powders. I don't use them anymore, and my clothes are incredible. I use round balls that change everything. So please watch everything you do and don't overwash the area. And sometimes I use a very, very light, pure rose oil, which will stimulate a tiny in a drop of a bit of coconut oil that I put on the outside. So there's many areas. It's a big subject. It's a big subject. Does hormones affect hair loss? Absolutely. Totally affects hair loss. Totally. Hair loss is linked. You know your hormones are affected.
There's another part to that, and what we tend to see, and if you don't mind as well, Dr. Zoe, let's just give them a quick summation of what's the cause and what they can do, but then just recommend a product as well, so they've got some kind of solution to take away with today as well. If you have, when we see a lot of people with hormones, hair loss, I say, a lot of people find it easy to make the assumption, oh, it must be hormones, it's going to be hormone related, and oftentimes it's not only hormones. Sometimes it's hormones, but it's often other things as well. And one of the key things that we see, especially when we do the scan and we identify the imbalances in the body, is where people are having problems with their hair is because they're lacking the nutrients that support the regrowth of their hair. Because the body naturally, you naturally lose 100 hairs a day, which is part of the body's natural process of regeneration. But when your hair has the right amount of nutrients and your body's in balance, you will grow back 100 hairs. But when you lose 100 and you only go back 90, then you start to go back 80, then you start to go back 70, there's a deficiency, so that means your hair is not growing back at the rate that it should be regenerated at. So therefore, there's some kind of imbalance somewhere in your system that you need to identify. So oftentimes, the first protocol is going to be minerals, your zinc, your selenium. These things, iron. These things are all linked to the collagen cycle, making sure your collagen has the right amount of materials and raw materials that it needs to rebuild and regenerate itself. So if you have a deficiency in collagen, your body has to prioritize where the available resources can go. And if the hair is going to be the one that gets left out, gets a short straw, then so be it, because the body's always working to keep you alive and keep you in balance. So don't always think it's going to be hormones. It could also be minerals, and oftentimes it is, and vitamin related. So definitely use the iron, definitely use the zinc, definitely get just a multi-mineral. Get your, if you want to use, somebody mentioned, I'm doing the next question actually. I won't go too far ahead. Let me do the next question. So I hope that answers your question, Jason.
It's great. I have to say zinc and copper together, the 10-part-to-1 is phenomenal because it helps mobilize collagen. But also if you're losing your hair, spray the gold in. It's incredible. They use it a lot. But it's absolutely true. But also, please be careful what dyes you use, how you comb your hair, what you do, how long you pull your hair back. It's very, very important, and what shampoos you use and what you're actually doing, even what you're using on your pillows at night, what you're washing them with is very important. So please be aware of everything you're doing. Where can we get all of those? Doesn't come. No. Princess Glory and Doctor will give it to you. They will give you everything you need, because I can say I wouldn't be here if that was the case, and they didn't, and they will put amazing formulas together with you. But I want to say it's so important that you go and have a consultation with Princess Glory. I mean, they don't need me to say that, but get it honed into you personally. It'll make such a difference, such a difference.
It's a
pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure. It's an honor to me. Here we go. Oh, right. This person's extraordinary. This is going to be a tough one, because this person is an associate for the Royal College of Medicine. I know this person. He comes on my webinars and asks this. I'm going to leave this for you. He's an associate for the Royal College of Medicine, and he's a real health enthusiast, even though he is a scientist and a doctor. So I really want you to answer. It's a great question.
Okay, let's read it out. So all minerals were created in space at the heart of a collapsing star and sent out into space. No mineral is created on Earth. The golds which we contain 6 grams, silver, zinc, iron, etc., and everyone is vital to human functions, and the elements in the soil are not in great abundance in plants, and some elements you need to put back in the body. I love this guy.
Oh, he always does this. He loves what we all do. And it's wonderful to be supported by these people. It's great because it shows you that if you think out of the box, so that's true. It's lovely. There you go.
So let's take this back to the Bible now. They said,
yes,
man
please.
From the dust of the ground. The dust of the ground, the soil, when it's in its natural state, it contains all the elements that man needs to create himself. If you look at your mobile phone, and let's make an analogy between your mobile phone and the human body. Mm-hmm. If you have a problem with the mobile phone, most phones are made in China and they have a distributor over here. If you have a problem with the phone, the first point of call you're going to go to is back to the distributor. The distributor is going to then take it back to where? The manufacturer. Because that's where all the parts came from, that's where all the technology came from, that's where all the assembly was put together. Mm-hmm. That's how your problem's going to get resolved. In fact, iPhone are so pedantic about this process, they don't even allow you to even interfere with their phone because they want to protect their brand and make sure only they are the ones that go in and tinker around with your phone when you have a problem. The same way when you look at the human body, all the elements of the body comes from the soil. So if we have a problem with the body, what does the Bible say? The leaves are for the healing of the nation because everything is contained within the leaves. All the nutrients, all the minerals are contained. We did a gardening course and we were speaking with the teacher and she was just talking about how the process of how a seed goes into the ground and how once it's in the ground, that seed is broken up. It's able to find roots, are able to come out from nowhere and stick down to find where the water is. She was asking, how is this process able to take place? No scientist can explain this. This is the power of nature. So when you're dealing with the body and you want to get the body back into optimal health, wellness, you have to go back to nature. You have to go back to the source. So what this gentleman is speaking about here is talking about the building blocks of the human body. If there's a problem with the body, you have to go back to the source. All the things you mentioned here, they're all minerals, as you said, gold, silver, zinc. These things are the keys that bring about healing and wellness in the body just from ingesting them. As you said, you can't make them in the body. They have to be taken from the soil. Alain Baker, we need to get you on one of our lives.
Very interesting. And Doctor, his father was a very good friend of Dr. Rife, who created the Rife machine. And a lot of so I thought thank you.
Wow. Okay, let's get another question on. Thank you so much.
It's nice to know people are listening to us. They're thinking.
Let's get this one. Okay, Cheryl. Peppermint tea is full of natural element. Ooh. Now, this is why it's important to know the source of your food. The source of your food is just as important as the food itself. Where does your food come from? I know people went for a phase where everybody was going crazy about turmeric and curcumin. But if you know that a lot of your turmeric and your curcumin comes from India, for example, India is rife with pollution. The soil is full of heavy metals. So if you don't know the source of your food and you're buying it from these places that have got a well-renowned reputation for having contaminated soil, that food is going to absorb a lot of those contaminants into that so-called compound that you are, really ingesting on a high and consistent basis. That's now adding an additional burden to your already stressed out body by adding more lead, more cadmium, more mercury into your body just because you don't know the soil. So when you said, someone recently told me that peppermint tea is full with natural aluminium, is this true? It may well be. It depends on the source. It depends on the source. You have to really try and start to look into researching the source of these foods and look at where they're coming from to have an understanding of what type of soil is available in those areas to know what kind of produce that soil will produce. Dr. Zoe.
I can't add. It was so eloquently put. It was perfect. Just like I mentioned, the selenium, I only get the nuts from a specific, I haven't got the testing that I used to have and the batches, but it's so important. And also it's even more important because sometimes they bring these, a woman was killed in Australia. She died from poisoning from chia seeds because the ship that carried it across was sprayed anti-rodent and chia seeds, and these seeds absorb everything. It was put in hemp bags, and this poor woman, she was an actress. So you've got to be careful with everything. And that's why, again, it's good to go to a good practitioner who does something like this, because they will That's what they do. They guide you. They know the best sources because that's what they do.
Dr. Zoe, I've got a really juicy one for you. You ready for this? Okay, here we go.
I have leaky gut and a problem with malabsorption. What forms of vitamins are better for the body to be absorbed, since I'm not convinced that my vitamin tablets that I'm taking? I would really urge you to take bioavailable, and I would do a combination of nanominerals and start to really bring in foods and juices afterwards to incorporate it. Really start to look at that. It's going to make such a difference to you. I cannot even begin to tell you the difference. And you're in exactly the right place for people to guide you. And I can assure you that the vitamins are all bound. They're full of, as I said, they're bound to salts. You have to liberate them, and they're very difficult to liberate them. And everything you need to have minerals, by the way, to process vitamins. Vitamins won't work without minerals. Actually, neither will your carbohydrates or fats. But the truth is that it's about having them for flight or fight when you need them for the endocrine responses. So that's important as well. So it really can be done. It can be done with help. It can be done, and you've got something for life. That's what I say to my patients. It's an investment in you for life and in your family.
Vero, that's a very good question. I'm really glad you put that. I'm quite intrigued to find out how you knew you had leaky gut. So you must have been to somebody already who's told you that you got leaky gut, because that's not something that's very well recognized in the health establishment. So that's quite interesting. I'm glad that you're on that path of researching and trying to understand what's happening within your own body. So that's great. One of the things that we do recommend is that when you have problems with malabsorption, as majority of our clients do, is to try and utilize more liquid-based nutrients, because that way you haven't got to rely on the digestive system. If your digestive system is already compromised, you want to start incorporating more liquid-based minerals, more liquid-based vitamins, more liquid-based nutrients, because that way they haven't got to go through the stomach as much. They don't want to rely on the digestive system as much. They can go directly into the blood. So the higher the levels of absorbability they are, or the more bioavailable they are to the blood, is the better you'll find you'll start to utilize and get the benefits from them. So you're very probably right. You're probably intuitively right. And we do find a lot of clients are quite intuitive. They do already know what they need. They just don't know how to maybe put it together or actually say it or access it. But you're probably right. You said you don't convince that your vitamins are actually doing or having the right effect, because you can't be through the impact. So this is why it's time for you now to start to incorporate some liquid-based vitamins. And we specialize in that. We have the minerals, we have the nanos. And if you can, come and do a test, come and do a check so we can find out.
Even better. Best investment you've ever made in you.
Absolutely.
You wouldn't buy a car without testing it. So
exactly.
You wouldn't do that. So I say to people, they say, no, I hadn't thought.
No, that wasn't. Oh, was that a right question? Or was that no? Maybe no. I'm do Lorna's. Okay, let's go back to Lorna's one. Lorna's previous one. Oh, blacked out. I'm suffering from hair loss or hair thinning. I think we kind of covered that one earlier, so it could be any number of reasons.
Yes.
Julia Hunter. Lorna, I think you need to type this question again if you don't mind. What can I do about my blocker? Is that mean you're blacking out, or just so we can be clear, so we can answer it? We'll come back to it. Okay, Dr. Zoe, over to you.
So if you drink, yes, you do want to go. You do want to go regularly. It applies to, yes, it does, absolutely, because all the muscles alter and the positioning. And if you've had children, everything alters. But you don't have to, you don't have to have 3 liters just in water. We're talking about in your foods and mixing. Have I got this question right? As I drink 3 liters, I enter perimenopausal, I want to go constantly. Yes, you probably will want to go constantly. But remember, it's also a sign that you need to really increase your pelvic floor exercises. And what I do is I really ask women to do good walking. And walking properly and lifting their legs. But I also ask women to do yoga and Pilates. And I find that helps a lot. So there's a lot you can do with that, with water. So, yes. And if you can't, sometimes people don't have access to the toilet. I had a woman who is a judge, and she can't leave in the middle of a court case to go to the toilet. It was very difficult. I appreciate that there are some jobs that you work that you can't do it. But I tend to say to them, load up before, if you can, and then when you get home and go. So there's ways of doing it. There is ways of doing it. It's a great question, Julia.
I think Julia's question came from when I was talking about the water, increasing the water to deal with the nocturnal incontinence. And yes, I'm looking at the time it came through. So I think, yes, I think that's what you'd like to. So I'm trying to apply to, yes, it does apply to everyone. I've seen it with people with nocturnal incontinence. I've seen it even with males who have serious incontinence. And I've noticed that women who have water retention as well, when they increase their hydration, their water retention tends to go down because they have a lot of swollen feet. And one of the biggest problems that they have is their feet are swelling because their water levels in the body is very low, and the demand for the water is very high. And if they have a lot of salt in their diet, that's going to make the problem even more advanced or more progressive. So increasing your potassium, because potassium naturally will help to reduce the levels of sodium in the blood and it'll push out a lot of the salt, and that helps to balance your electrolytes in your body. So if you have an imbalance in your electrolytes, that's going to have an impact on your body's ability to hold water, because electrolytes help to balance your fluid retention in the body. So drinking more water is going to be the first port of call for addressing water retention. Secondly, adding more potassium into your diet. Lastly, before you come in, Dr. Zoe.
No, it's so beautiful what you've said, because I actually have something I use with my patients, and getting rid of salt, using a good salt, but man, I used to have a dry plant, and I'd say to them, when I put water in this in a dry plant, it goes right out. When the plant is moist, it will absorb the water more. The body's the same.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So the more water you drink, is the quicker you'll get that water retention levels down. And in relation to you waking up in the night, as we said about the muscles, it strengthens those muscles. So I know it seems hard at the beginning, but persevere for the week, drink more during the day, go more during the day, get those muscles opening and closing, and you'll be so surprised that at night, if you normally go 4 times a night, in the first week, you'll notice that you go 3 or even 2. You can reduce by up to 50%. And lastly, women, do not hold your weed. Do not hold it. It's going to really put you at high risk of developing urethritis, which is the bacteria that's going to cause inflammation in your bladder and your urethra. Because if you're not releasing the toxins, those toxins are going to start building up in the bladder, and they'll start to cause inflammation, and then it eventually leads to infection, just because you're not drinking enough water. So please, if you can, just go. When you need to go, go. Don't hold it. It's not good. Men can hold it and get away with it. Women, you can't hold it because you put yourself at risk. Okay, how many hours? Okay, here we go.
Just about. For years I was examining men, and it also alters whether they're circumcised or not. But absolutely, no one should really hold it. But that's perfect.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, because it's a very different thing with circumcised and uncircumcised men. The infection for holding. So we must just.
So we've got 15 more minutes left. Let's try and get through as many questions as we can.
I can be here all night.
I know. We just said it. The broadcast is only for 2 hours, so we're trying to keep it to 2 hours maximum. So I know people are going to come back again. We are going to do it again in a few weeks' time. So all those that are registered, thank you so much. We'll make sure we keep you informed when the next one comes, and we'll definitely try and get hold of Alain to see if we can get him on a live as well. So let's get back to the 30 seconds, 10 questions, quick fire, 30 seconds me, 30 seconds you. And let's go to the next one. Can you make millet bread? Millet bread. Can you make millet bread? Yes, you can. Let's keep that really simple. Sorry, not blocked out. Oh, blocked nostrils. Okay, Lorna. Sorry, not blacked out. Blocked nostrils. Go ahead. Adenoids. Adenoids again. Hydration again, because your hydration. That's what hydration. It has so many effects on so many parts of the body. You'll just be so surprised how many things can get addressed just by you increasing your water. If you have problems with a lot, because every part of your body is made up of water. So just you increasing your water by even 50%, you'll see a marked improvement across all of your biomarkers, across all of your symptoms, across all of your issues that you're having or struggling with at the moment. Anything dry is related to lack of water. Dry hair, lack of water. Dry eyes, lack of water. Dry skin, lack of water. So it kind of speaks for itself.
Even deeper. And may I just say, with blocked nostrils, please watch what you're eating, your dairy, because there's infection. Check your mouth. There's something going on with what you're eating and what you're doing. And I just want to say ENT, zinc and silver, spray it in your eyes, spray it in your nose, spray it in your ears. It isn't just there. These are all connected, everybody, all connected. So
ENT. How many hours should you fast and how often? How many hours should you fast?
I yield to you because you've got a lot of experience with this.
Michaela, just keep it really simple. We say build up slowly. Start with your natural fasting periods when you sleep. You go to bed. Try not to have your meal any later than 7 p.m. If you're really working late, at the maximum 8 p.m. Then your fast will start from 8 p.m. until 6 in the morning. Say you wake up at 6 in the morning, so your fast will end at 6 in the morning. That's a good 14 hours. So you 8 a.m. 12, yeah, 14 hours. So start small and build up. So if you can do 14 hours, then build up to 16 hours, then 18 hours, 20 hours, as Princess Joy said earlier, eat between 12 and 8. Why do I say eat between 12 and 8? Because you have the maximum amount of enzymes available. In fact, your maximum amount of enzymes are available between 12 and 4. So if you can do all your eating between 12 and 4, it's like you have the most amount of staff available to receive the deliveries. If your staff have gone home after 4 o'clock, exactly, you start bringing a big delivery in at like 8, 9 o'clock. There's no one there to take it in. So you're going to spend the nighttime cycle when your body's supposed to be healing and repairing itself. It's spending all this time trying to break down this load with just one security working on his own, trying to bring in this 4 tons of boxes that you brought in that he hasn't got the resources to do. So you're going to put your body into burden and going to throw your...
The brain can't shrink. The brain can't shrink. It's too busy digesting. You're in trouble.
Most of your energy is used up digesting. So try not to eat food late, but try to eat no later than 7 o'clock. If you have to, at a push, 8 p.m. and then start building up very, very slowly. Okay.
And everything improves, everybody. Everything improves by doing this. Your physical relationships, everything improves. Your energy levels, everything.
Okay. Is agave syrup a healthy substitute for sugar? It's not bad.
I don't think so. I wouldn't allow it, but I yield to you. Yeah, I wouldn't allow it.
You know why we do the food last? We always tend to leave the food so last, because you said something earlier, and I said we always say that the food you love the most is often the one that causes you the most.
Always.
So if sugar is your problem, then you're probably gonna have a problem with parasites. You're gonna have an overgrowth of parasites in your gut.
And iron, doctor, and iron. Because the parasites are eating the iron.
There you go. They'll just consume all your nutrients. They eat all the good stuff and they leave all the bad stuff for you, and they're eating everything. Crazy. So if you're having a problem with sugar, you need to start looking at a detox, having a detox to clear out the parasites, get the parasites out, get your gut back into order. So you won't have a desire for agave. You won't have a desire for sugar at all, because sugar just causes more problems than it's worth. So if you can avoid sugar completely, yes, we say as a substitute, wean yourself off slowly. Start with agave while you're getting to find out good cleanse. Then eventually start moving to things like honey. Then eventually when you start to cleanse and detox, you won't need to have sugar as much, because you realize that the body intuitively doesn't actually want sugar unless it's trying to, provide additional energy. Okay, what's the name of the bread in Holland? Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
It's a kind of bread.
You started Princess Glory.
It's a kind of bread. There's a kind of bread. I think you can find it in Holland and Bar, but there's special ones. But you can order it online. They've got a website. The bread costs about £4 to £5 for a loaf of bread, but they're quite good. I lost my head in the middle.
May I say something here for the next question, please?
Go ahead.
This is a sign. If your hair is getting thin, if there's lots of other things going on in your body, as a doctor, I would urge you to go and get this looked at, everything. It's not just a case of something. There's a lot more going on in your body, in your gut, everywhere. So I would really urge you to invest, go and have a bioresonance with Princess Gloria and get it all looked at, because it's not just a quick fix answer. If it started, there's a lot going on, and you really need to look at it and do a whole approach to your body for your health.
So with regards to the hair then, people lose hair when they're in menopause as well. So what would they do in that situation?
More people lose their hair during menopause because they have deficiencies or a lot more inflammation in their body. And I see it all the time. And the deficiencies affect your hormones. So again, you need to really address everything, as well as change your diet and everything as well. It all has to be looked at. But you could, if you had to start with something, I can assure you, you immediately need magnesium. You need to have your B vitamins, your iron levels. You need to look at all these things. Please bring more fat into your diet, good fats. This will affect you. This will really help as well.
Another question I want to ask. Lots of people say it's very good to drink olive oil first thing in the morning. How does that work?
Princess Gloria, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that at all. I encourage people to have a smoothie. I've not heard this. And if someone's got a problem with their liver, we're not preparing them, I wouldn't do this. But I would encourage people when they make a smoothie to put some good oil in, either a black seed oil or a good organic coconut oil in. I always encourage them because it makes them feel a lot better. And it just helps with all the hormones and all the endocrine system. What is gold and where do you get it from? Well, they use, you're back, wonderful. They use elemental gold, the purest 99.99999% to make the nano gold. It's really quite extraordinary.
If you're looking for where to get it, we've got a nano gold, we've got a magnesium, we've got all the stuff that doctors mentioned today. We've got all of them on our website, so you can buy it from us. So don't worry about where to get them. And with regards to doing the body scan, yes, you can book for a body scan. And because you're logged on today, we normally do it for $250, but we'll give you a 10% off discount. So you can book for the body scan. It takes an hour to do, but we will be able to tell you your vitamin levels, and we can tell you about your hormones. We'll check your breast, your brain. We can tell you what's happening in your brain. Dr. Zoya has been talking about liver. And
Yes.
for us, every time I do the scan, the first thing I notice is that people are developing fatty liver. And the first question I ask them is, do you eat healthy? They're like, yeah, eat healthy. Do you eat fried foods? If you are eating fried foods, your liver definitely will be clogged and you will have fatty liver. And for what I've also noticed as well, people that do healthy stuff, they've been eating lots of coconut oil or using coconut oil to cook, their fatty liver state is much higher. So if there's anyone on the line tonight that is taking coconut oil, using it to fry, using it to cook, eating it as a healthy oil, you really need to avoid that. You can use this on your skin, I say to people, but it is clogging your liver. Not only your liver as well, it's also clogging your heart. So you're beginning to have plaque around your heart, and it's very, very difficult to take the plaque out. I'm sure a Jewish doctor will be able to tell us a little bit more about the plaque around the heart and what problems it causes. It makes your blood to be thick. I'll give him an opportunity to tell you that quickly.
Yeah, you want to just try and keep away from those type of fats, especially the person asking about olive oil. Olive oil has a lot of properties, a lot of compounds in there. But again, you have to know how old that oil is, because sometimes those oils that you see in the shops, they may have been around for many years and then now start to become rancid. So unless you can vouch for the source and verify the source of that oil and when that oil was actually produced or bottled, then you're going to be putting yourself at risk of taking an oil that's going to put more omega-6, which is going to be more pro-inflammatory than the omega-3, which is actually going to be helpful and nutritional. So you've got to be careful with the oils and the fats. And again, once you start to have them in too much high, dosage, it starts to, cause arterial plaque and deposits to start to, deposit themselves in the arteries, which will start to affect the blood flow to your heart and from your heart. So if you notice that you're having, tingling in your hands or feet or poor circulation, sometimes this is a result of the accumulation of fat or fats in your arteries that have not been broken down correctly, which will be triggered and harboring a lot more inflammation. So just be really mindful. Yes, these foods sometimes can be nutritional and beneficial, but you've got to keep them in moderation and try to be as well informed about their source as possible. Shirley was saying that's right, he did. I think she was relating to Moses. He thought she was trying to punish them. He was and he wasn't. He was trying to raise their vibrational level, because by getting them to drink gold, he knew the effect it would have on their brain function, on the speed at which the brain cells will start to vibrate. They'll no longer be operating at that carnal level, and they'll more be operating at the more spiritual level, because it starts to impact the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, because all those are controlled by the brain and the hypothalamus. So the more he's able to stimulate those nerve centers, is the higher level of awareness they would have, and it will put them back in that state of divinity. So if you want to read up on it more, go and read Exodus 32, chapter 32, verse 10 to 20, and you'll see how gold has actually been used in the Bible to increase and raise the vibrational level of the Israelites during that time. So thank you for those that have really been blown away by the revelation, and also Revelation yes, we really want to really empower you with information so you can be like, wow, I didn't realize that, because that's what it's all about. So you can then say, I need to go and take action. I need to start getting my gold. But one thing I'd say about gold, when you take gold, try to take it either in the morning or in the afternoon. Don't take it too close to when you go to bed, because it can sometimes have the effect of overstimulating the brain cells, and you find that you can't sleep because you're so aware, you're so alert, you just find yourself not being able to sleep. And when you, it's not a good thing. Balance it with the magnesium, because that helps to really balance it and helps to increase the absorption and helps to increase the metabolism of the gold into the cells. But just try to keep them early, the gold in particular. The rest of them we have at night. I actually told Stephen, we use all the nano range magnesium, zinc and copper, silver. We use them more at night. He was shocked. I was like, yes, because when you use it during the day, your body's going to burn them up a lot quicker. But when you use it during the night, the body's going to use it for a lot more repair. So a lot more repair work will take place overnight. When the body's naturally in that healing state, it's looking for the spare parts. Suction, scalpel, zinc, copper, it knows what it needs, and it will start to work on them overnight. So you'll wake up feeling like, wow. Especially when you take iron at night. Iron really gets utilized at night really well because it really gets to hold the charge. So when you're sleeping, it really gets to hold the energy, and you find yourself waking up feeling a lot more refreshed and a lot stronger. So these are some of the things that we found and observed over the years of using them at different times of the day and seeing the different outcomes that we've then shared with the producers. So it's really, really been experiential and an enlightening journey working with these noble minerals.
It's wonderful. He must absolutely love hearing that. He must really love that.
Oh, he was blown away. He was like, wow, this is big science. He was like, wow. He's never thought that.
It's
incredible. He always uses it during the day. What about CMOS?
There are a couple more questions that we still need to get through. Someone is asking about coconut milk.
Oh, quick and easy, simple question. How do you get rid of pesticides in your fruits and veg? It's very hard. It's very difficult. They're made to withstand rain, and they're made to withstand most weather conditions. So just wash with water is not going to cut it. You need to use a product called Veggie Wash. Veggie Wash is made from vegetables, and it's got certain compounds in it that are designed specifically to break down the chemical components that cause that waxy film to form on the fruits and vegetables. So use Veggie Wash. Again, you can get it from the website. I'll type it in the chat and run it across the screen in a bit. vivonutrients.com. You can get Veggie Wash. You can get it on Amazon as well. It's only £10. We trade it for the same price, £10. So Veggie Wash is the thing that you need to help to break down and reduce the pesticides. Because do whatever you can to reduce those buildup of pesticides in your body, because they cause no end of problems, and there's no real tests to identify them as the culprit or one of the things that are behind your issue. So if you can reduce the levels of it, definitely try and do so.
Please be careful, everybody. Please be careful, because when we're buying pesticides that the EU has banned, because we're not in the EU anymore. So please, everybody, take great care. Take great care. Be doubly vigilant, especially with our children.
Come on in, Dr. Zoe. We've got 2 minutes left before it actually cuts off by itself. I know you had sickle cell talk yesterday or last week.
Yes.
So
is there any treatment? No, there is not. But you need to. I've just done it. I've just been to the sickle cell conference, and I was a guest speaker, and it was an absolute honor to be there. May I just say, and I was there with one of 11 doctors. I just need to say that you need to really look at your apart from your iron. Nano iron's fine because it doesn't have side effects, but I really urge you to look at your zinc, your vitamin E, your magnesium levels, and your folate levels to lower your inflammation. It's so important what you eat and what you do. And there was a wonderful young woman who absolutely controls her symptoms by just following a very strict diet, by eating beautiful organic fruits and vegetables and controlling it. It's controlling these symptoms. It really will make a huge difference.
Okay, I think that's all we've got time for. I know we've got a few more in there, but I'm so grateful that we're able to get through 99% of them. There is a small who didn't. Good. So thank you once again, Dr. Zoe.
It's been my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you for everyone for joining us.
Just before we go, there are a couple more questions I would really like to ask, and that's to do with teenagers. My son eats late at 12 midnight, and I've got a question here saying that their son, I don't know if you can help us put a question, eat at 12 midnight. So what would you advise? Because I actually nicknamed my son the Midnight Chef, because he likes to eat at midnight. And obviously, I think that's probably something very common.
It
with
is very
teenagers.
common. I mean, I've raised 7, so I know that what they eat and what they do. But I just want to say that they will process the food much quicker than an adult. That's the first thing to say. Their turnover, their cell turnover is phenomenal compared to ours. So that's the first thing. But the second thing is, it's not just about eating late. Why are they requiring food late like that? They're growing. Are they not getting enough nutrients during the day? When I changed their nutrient levels for mine, they weren't craving things at night at all. And they're also hydrated. A lot of it is thirst and they think it's hunger. So please address them. Make sure they're getting enough protein, they're getting enough iron and zinc through the day. And you will find they will not be having those cravings at night. I never used to put food up. I used to put foods out for mine that they could only have at night.
I'm trying to find the questions because there's so many. I can't find any other questions.
You asked the last question I would like you to answer is to do with the Celtic salts, because they say sea salt, Himalayan salt. So which is the best salt for us to use? I use a Himalayan salt, and I also use the sea salt. Yeah. But I find that the Himalayan salt, if I use that for any of my seasoning, I don't use any seasoning. I just use that salt, and that's fine. But sea salt is a bit harsh. These days, like you said, there are a couple of different ones. So which ones would you really recommend?
I would be very careful. They found a lot of mercury in sea salts. I use the Irish one from a wonderful company. I don't know the name, but it's so pure. I mix it with the seaweed because this is salty, the best saltiness. It's absolutely delicious from the food. I mix it, but I also go to areas where I can get salts from Morocco, from Tunisia, places like that. So mix your salts. But if you can't do that, then I would suggest, I know Planet Organic is very expensive. Do you do a range? I would bring in you'll see a really good salt and mix them, because the Irish salts are quite beautiful still, and the sea, that part of the season is contaminated because they get the salt from very, very deep, very deep down, and the salt they get deep down isn't as polluted as the salt that's on the surface.
On the surface, absolutely. So that's the key. Again, knowing the source. So these are the little nuggets that we try to share to really make that difference between having something that's toxic to the body as opposed to something that's going to be beneficial to the body. So thank you so much once again, Dr. Zoe. We're really out of time. We are back again.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
They're asking for you, they're calling for you, they're giving you the encore.
I'd love to come back. I'd love to come back. It was lovely to be here, but I just can't believe how quickly the time has gone.
It flies.
Time waits for no one, but it disappears quickly as well when you're having fun.
Absolutely. This has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it. It's a thorough and enjoyable evening for me. So with that, Princess Glory, last words before we close, because I knew we're going to get us for the podcast. Kicks us out.
Thank you for being a great hostess, Princess Glory, and guiding us. We must be quite difficult to guide, the two of us.
Definitely. It was a very, very difficult task, but we thank God for everything. I want to say a very big thank you to everyone that logged on and all the people that put the questions in. All the questions I had for Dr. Zoe that I sent her, we were not even able to touch any of them. But for the guys that were logged on, you did a brilliant job. You made my life easy tonight. You asked all the questions, and Dr. Zoe was ready to fire on. We're looking forward to come and bringing Dr. Zoe back again to answer the rest of the questions. But because we had questions to ask her with regards to menopause, with hormones, bones, and stuff, but for what we did tonight, thank you so much, Dr. Zoe. You did a fantastic job.
It's been my pleasure.
We're looking forward to seeing you again whenever you're free. Please let us know. We will be happy to have you again on the show. And to all those of you that logged on with us for the first time, we appreciate you as well. And for those that asked the questions, we appreciate you even more. And thank you, Dr. Juice Doctor, for joining us tonight and telling us all the theory about the Bible and how
beautiful
it works. So yes, looking forward to seeing you guys again next week. For anyone that has any more questions, please send them to me by text or WhatsApp. but we'll still send them on to Dr. Zoe, and she gives us the answer. We will be obviously sharing the answers in our community. Yeah, that's it for tonight. Thank you so much, Dr. Zoe. We really
My pleasure. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for
all the answers that you gave us.
Nothing but the deepest respect for both of you. God brought you both together. Only God brought you both together.
Indeed.
Only God.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing night. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Bless.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.